In today's show, we're going to take a stroll down memory lane and talk about how industrial seed oils became ubiquitous dietary staples here in America. We're going to share the story about Crisco, which is hydrogenated cottonseed oil. Now, cottonseed, as you may know, is actually a former waste product. It used to actually kill the wild hogs outside of the cotton mills in the South. And Proctor and Gamble and other food companies decided they could turn this waste product into a staple food product that housewives and homemakers would use in cooking as a shortening agent to help make wheat products more crispy, to make pastries, donuts, French fries, pies, and that a little bit more palatable. Now, back then, the population of America in the early 1900s was only 100 million people. After its inception, just 1 year of launching Crisco, Procter and Gamble sold 60 million units of Crisco, which is hydrogenated cottonseed oil. Lest I remind you, partially hydrogenated and hydrogenated oils are very unhealthy, increasing your risk for cardiovascular disease, possibly cancer, cognitive decline, and more. So this history, I think, is worth noting and understanding, because anyone who understands history knows history often repeats itself. And so when we see these novel food products come on the market, whether it's a meat alternative, whether it's a chicken nugget alternative derived from plants, we need to remember that some of the most toxic foods and most unhealthy foods in our food supply are partially hydrogenated seed oils, high fructose corn syrup, sugar, tobacco. They all come from plants. And I'm not trying to demonize all plants, but it's important to recognize that just because something says it's plant-based or comes from plants doesn't mean it's healthy. And so we need to understand this incredibly interesting story of how a waste product, i.e. cotton seeds, became a staple food here in America. I think it's incredibly fascinating. So we're going to draw upon evidence from this narrative review paper titled Eating Cotton, Cottonseed, Crisco, and Consumer Ignorance by Helen Zoe Veit. As part of Cambridge University Press, the journal is the Journal of the Gilded Age and the Progressive Era. It was published in 2019. I would highly recommend you download this paper. I will share it in the show notes, but we're going to draw upon some insights that I learned from this and just share some high-level overview as well as quotes from this paper, because it is just incredibly fascinating how this toxic product that was a byproduct of the cotton industry, and these cotton seeds were just piled and piled around cotton mills. Oftentimes wild hogs and wild animals and horses would eat these seeds and actually die because there's an insecticide in cottonseed, and it has an ingredient that is known as gisopol, and gisopol is actually incredibly toxic to humans. So Crisco and hydrogenated cottonseed are still present in mayonnaise, salad dressing, crackers, and cereals, also in margarine and shortening, Skippy peanut butter, potato chips, Toll House cookie dough, and it's also in Girl Scout cookies. And that's the short list. I mean, hydrogenated cottonseed oil is still used in deep fryers and fast food restaurants and more. And we, of course, now know, starting in the early 1990s was when the data started to emerge about the harms of partially hydrogenated and hydrogenated oils as it's related to cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, obesity, and more. So we're going to dive into this incredibly fascinating story. But first, friends, I just want to thank you for being here. If you're enjoying this content, hit that like button. Be sure to share this video with a friend who may be unaware of the fact that these industrial seed oils are ubiquitous in our food supply and are incredibly unhealthy, because it turns out that these companies rely upon marketing agencies to position their products as being healthy. We'll talk about this incredibly fascinating story and about how the Crisco manufacturer, i.e. Procter and Gamble, marketed specifically to homemakers and housewives, marketing their unhealthy products and using children in their advertising to position this, what we now know to be very unhealthy. And so we need to understand this so that we don't make these mistakes in the future. Also, if you're into exercise and intermittent fasting, because we're going into January here, new year, new you. I know a lot of you are exercising now. If you are not using creatine and electrolytes during your exercise sessions, you are missing out. Please check out the electrolyte sticks by Myoscience. They're one of the only creatine-containing electrolytes out there that also feature real salt, as well as high levels of magnesium, potassium, calcium, and taurine. This is a very unique combination that can help you get more mileage from your exercise sessions and your intermittent fasting sessions. You can check out the over 700 reviews over at myoscience.com using the code podcast to save 12%. Again, the URL is myoxience.com. I'll link it in the description below, and please use the code podcast to save. So let's dive back into this history because, again, history is so important to understand so that we do not repeat it in the future. The author here, Helen, says, Americans have been eating significant amounts of cottonseed oil since the late 19th century. Yet for generations, few Americans have known how often they eat foods made from the cotton plant. Crisco paved the way for this kind of consumer ignorance. Launched by Procter and Gamble in 1911, Crisco was a wholly new product, a solid fat made entirely from liquid cottonseed oil, the result of a novel technology of hydrogenation. Responding to the tenacious presidents against cottonseed, Crisco's marketers made consumer ignorance acceptable by promoting the idea that industrial processing was akin to purification and encouraging consumers to trust the brands rather than focus on the ingredients, which is fascinating because we see this now today. Zero saturated fat, heart healthy, made from whole grains or made from plants, plant-based. We see these buzzwords, and this is where the food companies like to pivot your attention away from the ingredients, away from the soy, away from the cornmeal, corn oil, canola oil, to focus on these buzzwords. And these are really innovative marketing tactics. And so this is really important to know that this is exactly how Procter and Gamble and their marketing team encouraged millions, tens of millions of Americans to start consuming this very unhealthy product that probably led to a reduction in quality adjusted life years far greater than any other food product, because the process of hydrogenation that made Crisco so appealing to homemakers and housewives when it came to cooking, because it turns out that shortening helps create that crispy nature that makes food more palatable. And so they were piggybacking off the hedonistic characteristics of humans to naturally like crunchy, salty, fatty things. And they were able to make a lot of money off this because this waste product, i.e. cottonseeds, which, lest I remind you, killed the wild hogs and the horses and so forth around the cotton mills, they were able to take this waste product and position it as a superfood that every housemaker and homewife back then would be encouraged to use this to make food more palatable for their families and their children. And they were able to do this because back then, lard and beef fat, as well as even raccoon fat, was used as shortening in baking pies and pastries and cakes and cookies and things like that. Because shortening helps to shorten the bonds in the grain products that are principal ingredient in these pastries and grains and crackers and treats and so forth. And they were able to, Procter & Gamble, that is, were able to make hydrogenated seed oil at a fraction of the cost of lard because it was a lot cheaper to take a waste product that no one wanted, convert it to food, and resell that and position that. So where's the history? Why are we even talking about this? Well, it turns out that Procter & Gamble and their marketing team relied upon doctors, dietitians, health experts, the media, as well as influencers of the time. They were sending out Crisco to various influencers and helping to position and reposition this waste product cottonseed into a superfood, and they were very successful in doing so. As I mentioned, the total population of America back then was only 100 million people. And during their first several years of launching the product in the early 1900s, Procter & Gamble sold over 60 million units of Crisco, which is partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil. Okay, now where's the relevance to today's era? Why do we even care about this? Well, there was an article that came out in November of 2023, and this was New York Post picked up this story. U.S. life expectancy data proves experts are literally killing us. America's public health experts somehow missed the biggest crisis in recent history: the cratering of U.S. life expectancy to near 3-decade lows, per recent data from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So here's the connection between how experts have literally been killing us. In the early 1900s, the president of the Louisiana Health Board claimed to have discovered that pure cottonseed flour was 30 times more nutritious than eggs and had 50 times as much protein as white flour. He himself, he claimed, ate only baked goods made partly from cottonseed flour. Other calculations were not quite so exuberant, but the big idea was the same. Protein from cottonseed was significantly cheaper than protein from meat. So you have health boards, health agencies, dietitians, influencers in the food space in that era promoting cottonseed flour as well as the cottonseed oil, really as a shortening product, but it became ubiquitous in the food supply, and it is still present in the food supply today. So I think the take-home messages are severalfold. Number one, companies will often utilize lower cost products and market them as being healthier than what humans have historically eaten throughout humanity. For example, in the case of cottonseed oil and Crisco, we had raccoon fat was utilized all the time as a shortening agent in baking, and then lard as well as beef fat. And then you have a lower cost product that came on the market, and it was heavily positioned as being superior to those products that historically have been used for probably hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years at that time. And the health effects were not fully calculated back then because we didn't have the technologies to look at lipid changes and the harms that trans fats have. It wasn't until some 80 years later that we learned that this product that has been pushed as being healthier and superior to beef fat, lard, tallow, and suet actually is much more harmful because those animal fats do not contain the harmful trans fatty acids. So again, I think this story is really important. I would encourage you to download this article and learn a little bit more about this, the history of cottonseed oil, and then we can talk a little bit more later about the problems with canola oil, with soybean oil, with corn oil, because these are oils that have also been hydrogenated, adulterated, and they are ubiquitous in the food supply. And everything from various chips, as I mentioned, we have Girl Scout cookies, Toll House cookie dough still has partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil in it, which we know to be very, very unhealthy. So I think the major take-home message here is that health experts, as well as dietitians and influencers, can be paid by the food companies. We've seen this with the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the organization that certifies all the dietitians, some 30,000 dietitians every single year. They own stock in Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Nestle and General Mills, all of the unhealthy processed food companies. They invest in their products, and that's really harmful. Also, we need to understand the marketing methods that these companies use to influence consumers. They focus away from the ingredients and focus on the purity of the product. And we're now seeing this with the plant-based push. We're seeing things as being more pure, better for the environment, more sustainable, combat global warming, and all these different buzzwords. And that causes people to shift away from the ingredients, which are often corn, soy, canola, and the like. And so it's important to refocus on the ingredients and consider how humans historically ate and the foods that they historically ate, and the fact that we didn't have the rates of chronic diseases back then that we do now. Of course, there were other ailments and diseases, infections, tuberculosis, smallpox, diphtheria, and things like that shortened lifespan back then because we didn't have antibiotics and things, clean water and the like. But we are now living in an era where we have more cleanliness. We have, uncontaminated water, antibiotics and the sort. So the greatest risk for a shortened mortality is actually from chronic diseases. And the way that we manifest these chronic diseases is by eating these adulterated modern foods. And Crisco and the story of partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil is a major thing to keep in mind going forward so that we focus on the ingredients and consider how humans actually ate food leading up to prior to the 19th century and how that has shifted. We've moved away from animal-based food products and are consuming more and more industrial seed oils, cottonseed oil, and these hyper-palatable products made from grains that have been adulterated from genetically modified ingredients and are heavily sprayed with pesticides and glyphosate. So it's important to know your history so you do not repeat it. So hopefully you found this information helpful. I would honestly recommend, if you're interested in nutrition whatsoever, downloading this paper. Again, I will link it in the description below. It's an excellent overview of how a waste product became a staple food supply here in America and probably led to a massive reduction in quality adjusted life years for generations, because we know there's transgenerational epigenetic imprinting, meaning that if your grandparents ate a lot of trans fats and procreated and had your parents, and then your parents ate this stuff, that it may predispose you to health conditions. And we see a lot of children now born with food sensitivities. Rates of autism are like 1 in 36 boys and is increasing. Developmental issues, depression, anxiety, mental health challenges. And so it's important to acknowledge that food companies and their marketing teams can influence you to focus on buzzwords and not on the ingredients. And that's what you should be looking for when you go to the grocery store. Eating whole foods, making foods from scratch, not having fried foods, not going out to fast food restaurants. I see the Chick-fil-A line all throughout COVID, still now today, all these people are still wearing masks in their cars and so forth and eating fried chicken and chicken nuggets and French fries, probably that might even still use partially hydrogenated or just unhydrogenated cottonseed oil, which is, again, a food that no human or animal hitherto was actually regularly consuming. So it's important to know your history. History often repeats itself. As always, I'm grateful that you tuned in all the way. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. Please hit that like button and share this video if you did, and we'll catch you